Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, Booster. Mini episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's jumping through the darkness?
It's Vincent Goodwin from Some of My Friends Read Comics.
Yes. Darkness. You see, darkness is Shovel Knight's true essence. Hey, it's Commander Lionheart from Twitch.tv/Commander Lionheart. Hey,
Emanuel, you tell me you smell the darkness?
I can smell the darkness in you, boy. The thing I love about this whole thing is that since I am also in the Kingdom Hearts shows, it's like, oh yes, I saw the word darkness, and I was like, yes, delicious.
So we are continuing our Shovel Knight coverage with Shovel Knight Specter of Torment, which is, you are going to hear this during Spooktober because you can, and because that's when I decided. I mean, this is not a horror game, but it's spooky. It's spooky aesthetic.
Spooky adjacent.
It's spooky and or kooky.
What is that, spoopy or something? Because it's not scary. I think spooky is like on that column or something. Like
it's not a scary game, but you do play essentially a guy who looks like a Grim Reaper. Doesn't that count?
Yeah, so it's like your Hotel Transylvanias and your Adam's Families.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted something to break up all the movies I've been doing for Spooktober, so here you get a game, and the games that I meant to do I haven't gotten around to, so you can have this.
Now I'm curious what the other games are.
I will tell you after the recording.
Yes. I'm gearing up to do Resident Evil 2 this Spooktober.
Oh, you're gonna play the remake or the original?
The remake. I saw you had beat. I hope this airs after. I saw you beat Persona 4 on very easy. And I was like, I should just do that with Resident Evil 2 because I don't want to play it for real, but I do.
Resident Evil 2 doesn't have a very easy unless you spend $2.
What?
And by spending $2, I mean you buy the unlimited SMG.
Oh,
that's what I did.
Or I watch it on YouTube.
I know. No,
it's a great game. But when I played it, I bought the DLC to have the unlimited weapon because it was on sale. I think it was like $1 or $2, and it made that game so much more fun for me.
Okay.
But Resident Evil 2 Remake is an amazing, amazing game. I did on the show a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's on my list. So
you'll enjoy it.
Like, considering that Mike knows this, that I am not a spooky guy at all. I do not like spooky shit at all. I love Resident Evil 2 Remake. Like,
it's a great game. It's just I was terrified of it, but that was just timing and everything else. But
I tried to get it like 3 years ago, and so that's not what we're doing today, but but I am feeling the mood now.
And I played it 2 years ago and just fell in love with it.
I hated it, but it was a great game. But Persona 4 is that's already been announced and said, but especially by the time you hear this, it'll already be out. But that wasn't what I was talking. I'll tell you guys later what I was talking about. That stuff that I haven't played yet that I was hoping to get in the Spooktober that might not happen because
we will talk about Resident Evil 2 Remake after the podcast.
Or go listen to the episode.
Yeah, go in the back episodes. There's also a Resident Evil 3 episode.
Hey, if you want to hear, a good game. If you want to hear all our discussions after the podcast, you can pay by going over at patreon.com/.
You don't not to hear other stuff, but you can support the show to vote. But yes, please do. Okay, Specter Knight. So this is another one of the Shovel Knights. What has it been 3 years now that we did Shovel Knight?
I think it's probably been 2.5. We definitely did Plague Knight like in February-ish.
Yeah, earlier this year we did Plague Knight.
Earlier in the year.
I just I'm trying to knock these out finally. And Specter Knight, I always remember, I played it once 6 years ago, and I remember having a really good time. And I was curious to play more of this. And at first, I was not having a good time until I understood how to play again. Vincent, what is your history with this one?
Yes. So my specific history is this was a nearish Switch launch title. So I played Shovel Knight 1 at launch on 3DS. I couldn't figure out how to place Plague of Shadows at the time. Like you had 3DS was weird how to download stuff, so I couldn't figure it out. And like you had to do it through the start menu, so of the page of the game. So I didn't never play Plague of Shadows. But Switch had the treasure trove, so it was $25. They raised the price every time. But if you bought Shovel Knight in the original time, you could get all these things. So I could have played this on 3DS. But it was $25, the treasure trove. I want to say it's like late March, early April 2017. I had just beat Breath of the Wild, and that was like all I played for the month of March 2017. And then I was like, okay, well, what else can I play on the Switch? And I saw Shovel Knight, and I'm like, I did like Shovel Knight a couple years ago. I'm hearing good things about Specter Torment. I'm gonna love it playing in that nice big widescreen on my little HD screen. let's fucking go. And it worst comes to worst, I'll just play Shovel Knight again. So that was my initial experience, and like you, Mike, I absolutely loved it. And it's been 7.5 years now. I don't remember why. I didn't remember why, but I remember really liking it
when this came out. Yeah, this came out in 2017.
Yeah.
Damn. And Emanuel, what is your history with this one?
I played it at launch when it was added to the treasure trove. Like I've owned Shovel Knight, like we talked about in the original Shovel Knight episode. I owned it on the 3DS, but then I moved over to PS4 and I bought myself a physical copy of that. And the DLCs just kept getting added free of charge. So, but yeah, I played it at launch and hey, I loved it. Much like the original one. And much like how I said in the Plague of Shadows episode, I did not go back to Plague of Shadows after trying that one out on the 3DS. But this one I was like very looking forward to it. And yeah, I want to say something else. It's been 10 years since the original Shovel Knight, by the way.
Oh my God, 10 years?
Yes, it was released on 2014, which is the reason also why we are getting a anniversary Shovel Knight, which is Shovel Knight DX. Which, Mike, are we doing that? That one's gonna have save states and rewind.
We might. I don't even know what it is.
It's Shovel. It's the original Shovel Knight, the Shovel of Hope, but it's gonna have rewind. It's gonna have save states, and you're gonna be able, I believe, to play as every single night.
Maybe then.
That's what they've said. It's a separate purchase, so it's not going to be added, and it's not like a DLC.
Oh, okay.
It's its own. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's just core Shovel Knight. It's not Specter of Torment or Plague of Shadows.
I mean,
I don't think so. But you can play as all the other knights. I believe.
I might. Maybe we'll see. I mean, Shovel Knight. Unfortunately, I don't own this on Steam. Actually, I only own this on a PS4 physical copy, which is weird for me. Like, not to own multiple things. Like, I have never gotten this on Steam because it's never been cheap. I mean, it's well worth it. I'm just a cheap bastard and I already own the game. I'm like, why should I buy it again when I already own it? I'm not going to pay $20 for it.
Yeah.
Even though I'd rather play this on the Steam Deck than pull out my PS4 or PS5.
Convenience, Mike. You need to think about the convenience.
Oh, I do all the time. You should see the amount of games I bought on Steam that I have on disc next to me. Like, oh yeah, all the time. No, I mean, I remember really enjoying Specter Knight. And when I first started playing this, I wasn't having a good time. I was dying constantly for the first level, but it's because I didn't understand the controls. So Specter Knight is a different character. He only has a single jump. His whole gimmick is that he can bounce off enemies, or not bounce off, but he can like shoot through enemies and projectiles.
He's got a diagonal jump when he flies through an object or an enemy, and either like top to bottom diagonal, left to right, or up, like in a diagonal. So it's a different movement style, which to be like. Plague Knight had the exact same thing in the last DLC. For those of y'all, I guess, who aren't following Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight came with a lot of Kickstarter goals, including like full DLC campaigns for 3 characters. Plague Knight was the first one. We did that earlier this year. It's not very good. Specter Knight is the second one. It is very good. And then King Knight is the last one. It came out like in 2019, and it's fine.
Never
spoiler
played it.
Spoiler alert for the episode we're going to be doing in 6 months to a year.
Yes.
But like, so that's the thing. But they all have completely like different movement styles. King Knight plays a lot like Wario, where he has like a charge. But Specter Knight is really cool because he gets into like this. You can get in this like flow state where when you're like running in Mario and you like jump on like several turtles and like that are flying in air, and you're just like, man, I'm a badass. It's got that same thing. Like you have this like oscillating, like almost like a sine wave where like you jump and you diagonal through something, and then you're falling some other things in front of you, and you diagonal jump through that. And by the end of the game, when you're really good at it, it's like, this is amazing how good the movement of this character feels. I think it moves better than Shovel Knight, who had that like pogo DuckTales jump.
I disagree, but then again, I also have not played Shovel Knight in 3 years.
And it was we did it in 2022, episode 168. For those of y'all looking back.
Okay, so 2 and some years. I haven't played it since then, so I don't remember. I just like. When I first started playing this, I was having such a hard time. I'm like, oh my God, am I even going to be able to play this? And then after a level, I got the hang of it. Because when he jumps, he also can climb on walls a little bit. And I was having nothing but trouble on the Black Knight stage. and it wasn't the game's fault. It was me until I just.
It's a little counterintuitive. Sorry, Emanuel, you want to go?
No. You go.
I think his movements, the button presses are a little counterintuitive sometimes because you're right. He has a single jump. You press jump and then you press the attack button to do the diagonal, like swipe. And I feel like if it was B, the jump, or south or whatever, and then jump again to do the push forward diagonal, it would make more sense. I feel like I fucked that up a lot, like the first level, because I thought that that's how it should be before I got like into the rhythm of it. And then I let it sit for a couple days and then I had to relearn that.
No, that's fair.
I think the jump in that way is counterintuitive. And also, Mike, I think you follow my arc that I have literally with every Shovel Knight game is where I don't like the first level. I think it's like, why am I doing this? This is not fun. Why do people say this is good? And then by the end of the level, I'm like, yeah, this rules.
Shovel Knight, I think I liked. I remember Plague Knight I hated, and then it grew on me. And this didn't take long at all. It only took me a level before I got the hang of how he played. But I died so much in that first level. I also think I don't think I was in the right mood when I was in a bad mood when I first started playing this too. So that didn't help the way I played it either.
I'm going to agree. I had to also rework my brain because I had, before starting Specter of Torment, the last game that I had played before that was Bow Path of the Teal Lotus, which is a Hollow Knight clone. And so that plays a lot like original Shovel Knight, where you have or not completely of like, it's not the same pogo thing, but you do like hold down to do the like a Hollow Knight, like just to attack enemies and pogo off of them and stuff like that. So my brain was still trying to rework that when I started replaying Spectre. I will also say that I died a lot in that first stage and even beyond because I kept hitting the jump button whenever you were climbing the damn walls.
Oh, it wasn't just me. Good.
No, it wasn't just you. It's I don't know. It's that we've been so accustomed to do like whenever we're in a wall in video games that are like in 2D video games to do like the wall jump and just try to like the Mega Man X effect of like I can wall jump up. So whenever I see the character going, I just want to hit X or the south button to keep jumping up instead of letting the character flow once it touches the wall, So yeah, I did that a couple times at the beginning and even further on. It's at times. I also did that because I was trying to go through this thing as fast as possible because I wanted to play Astrobot.
Oh yeah, that did come out the same week.
Yeah, and
we were playing this.
That's always one of the issues with this podcast is depending on gaming. Like you're forced to play something, and it's hard. Yep. I get it.
Yep. I don't think that not so much for you, Mike, since you don't concentrate so much on new releases.
I don't care about new releases.
You don't play new releases. Well, you have played Alan Wake 2 and did it for the podcast. So.
Yes, but that also I played it like 4 months later.
But it was still a very recent game. It's not like...
Yes, I know. I saw when I spent the $60, $70. I'm like... So, yes.
I could have waited 5 more years and got it for $20. Yes. God damn it.
I mean, that did go through my head, yes.
Emmanuel, how many deaths did you end up having? I had 58.
Man, I can't even tell you because when the credits rolled, I think that I went off the room to go get myself something, a drink or something to eat, or I don't even remember. I know it was a couple because in that first stage I died a couple times, and yeah, throughout the levels I died a lot. Like at one point I didn't care about it also happens in original Shovel Knight and Shovel of Hope, where at one point you don't care about dying and about losing the loot.
Right.
Doesn't matter after a while.
Yeah, but it's after relevant. A while. It's after a while. In this one, it almost doesn't matter because, yeah, you can upgrade the relics and stuff and maybe get a better armor, which the only one that I actually find useful is the one that that when you fall in spikes and pits, it doesn't kill you.
That's the same one I had.
Yeah, it's the only one that I used. Like the other ones I really didn't care about. Like you don't necessarily need the charge swipe like in Shovel of Hope where it deals more damage because you can just wail on enemies. Just keep jumping and homing in on them with the swipe. Like it's so much.
also heal really good. You get one of the spells that he gets, or relics, lets him heal himself. And that's the only thing I really use, because that fit my style.
I used that one, and maybe the feather was the second one that I used.
Oh, yeah, where you can float.
Yeah, and just to reach like some of the red skulls that were lying around, that I was like, I don't want to go through the hassle. I just let me just use this and float, and got it. There we go.
I used that one. I didn't get that one till like the second to last one, because the way I played my levels, because again, it's like Mega Man, where you get choose all your levels, which way you want to play. This one actually allows like everything available at once, as opposed to like 3 in a block and 3 in a block, which I find really cool. But it also is like very small. Like there's only like, the levels are just there. I picked the floaty one because it could also, when you powered it up, you could go through spikes. You could be invincible.
Oh yeah.
I powered it up, but I didn't even notice.
The secondary function of that was that you're invincible. So if I ever had to like thread the needle like on like a fan pushing me, like the fan like platform's like moving, and I'm like, I had to fall and then fall on this fan, and then I had to kind of like flow through these spikes. I'm like, fuck this. We're just doing this. But to you guys' point, like I feel like this game is like, of the Shovel Knights I remember, because I don't remember King Knight anymore. Like this one has the least incentives for you to poke around.
Yes.
And find stuff. Like the red skulls are what you use to buy like your power-ups in between levels. So that's like your secondary function, like the floaty thing or the heal power. And then there's obviously like the jewels and stuff. But then there's like either a magic meter extender or a health extender in every level. And if you happen to miss it, you can just buy it.
Yep.
It's really easy. I mean, usually you have enough money. And because this game also like, don't hold on to too much money because you'll lose it when you die. I spend everything, so I just bought everything. So my I think of the red skulls I got, my completion percentage was substantially less than last time I played. I think I got 80 of the skulls last time. I got like 58, 62, somewhere around that for this playthrough.
I didn't look at any of that this time. Right. Like I forgot to take a picture of that when I finished the game to see. I just saw my time was about like 5 hours.
I was curious because my time was 3:24, and every other time we played this thing, I didn't beat Plague Knight because it frustrated the hell out of me.
Not fair.
I played the exact same amount of time, 3:24, both Plague Knight and this, and I quit Plague Knight. But
this is easier. The only thing missing from this is that, like we were kind of talking about, you don't have the world map like you do in the other ones.
Yeah.
And this is a much more like cohesive experience, but it does kind of missing something without having those extra little random levels to do like Shovel Knight and Plague Knight have.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel. Because this is the third time through, I think you can like streamline stuff like that and not have as much of that stuff. Like the town, there's only one town, and it's like 4 rooms big, as opposed to however big the rooms were back in the other games. Where you're like, where is the person I buy my fucking armor from? Like that shit like gets tiring after a while. Like to walk to, and like, okay, I have to go down to these platforms to go buy this. Paper Mario 1000 Year Door was really frustrating me with that this year. Like, where do I just go to do this one function? Like, really frustrates me. But like, Specter Knight is like, it's just one of 4 screens. There's like these 3 dudes. They're all the people who sell you shit. They're all on this screen. It's really easy as opposed to finding things. And I kind of like that it's streamlined like that. I don't know if I would like it for the first game, but definitely by the third game, I'm happier that it's just like no fuss, no muss. I don't know.
No, you're kind of like, because a lot of, especially if you were to play. Well, I mean, if you play this now, if somebody were to go through all of these, you're going to want a shorter experience as you get more and more through the series. And after Plague Knight, which can be a bitch to go through, this is such a nicer experience because he handles so well.
He does. I feel like this is like the like. It is very easy compared to the other games, and I feel like, because it also like in terms of like battling bosses, like I feel like some of the bosses were not ready for Specter Knight's movement, because I could just like bounce off of them and hit them again, like the diagonal swipe. You kind of like recoil off, diagonal swipe, recoil, diagonal swipe. Oh wow, they're dead. Yeah. In a way that I don't think you could cheese them as easily with Shovel Knight, although maybe you could. Emanuel, I know you're very good at this game.
Shovel of Hope.
Yeah,
more Shovel. That is the one that I have mastered. The other one's not so much. But yes, I do agree that this one is relatively easier than the other ones, which it is both a good and a bad thing, honestly. Like I do enjoy the somewhat more challenge of Shovel of Hope, and just doing the whole pogo, trying to hit the enemies without getting hit and all that stuff. And here it's like just jump slash, And if you are very low on health, just use the heal. Like, you get darkness back as you hit enemies, so you can just heal a couple times. It's kind of almost more on the Hollow Knight in that term
That's fair.
like, not on the difficulty, obviously, because it's way easier.
God,
but on the whole, you attack and you receive back, whatever
Health
your
or magic. I don't remember.
your magic or whatever.
Also on this podcast.
But yeah, I don't know. It's
something about it just flows well. And then the relics that he gets also, like there's the one where he can zip to where an enemy is. Like there's just so many things. That one was
also really good.
Yes. That just make this game go very, very quickly. If you want it to, you can. And it really feels good.
I almost feel like this one was especially made to like be speedrun. Like
probably
like this one in particular, like not like the other ones. Yes, you can, because there is a trophy for Show of Hope, which I have done, where you have to beat the game in less than an hour and 30 minutes.
But he plays really well.
Yes.
I still think Shovel Knight might be my favorite just because I like the pogo stick. And
Mike, I agree 100%.
Does he have a double jump? It's been a long time.
Who's Shovel Knight? No. Yeah. I mean, the pogo...
But he can jump higher, right?
He can jump higher, but he doesn't have a double jump. It's not... I think that you... Does Hollow Knight have a double jump? Whenever you...
Later on, yes.
Yeah, because, again, it's that since I played the game that I mentioned earlier, Bow Path of the Teal Lotus, which you should all get. It's really good. Highly recommend. When you attack enemies with that one, just like in Hollow Knight, you get like a secondary jump. Like you attack and you glow blue and you can jump again. Like jump, hit an enemy, jump again is how it works in that game. But in Shovel Knight, no, it's just the pogo and you can slightly jump. Like you can jump slightly higher when the pogo goes back off. But yeah, I just like you, Mike, I still prefer Show of Hope, which has, I don't know if it's a controversial opinion or not, because I know that a lot of people have said that their favorite is Specter of Torment, and I get it. I understand. It's really, really good, and it's really, really great. And I loved it the first time around, and I still love it to a degree, but this time around, I don't know. I didn't love it as much as the first time. Again, maybe it's the whole thing of trying to beat a game so fast and not actually enjoying the process.
It takes a toll on a lot of people. I mean, I do it and I love it and it doesn't affect me, but it does affect people. That's why I try to give people months of notice, or as much as I can, so that way.
And even then, you know that I like to beat the games close to when we're doing the thing, because I will probably forget a lot of what I did in the game because I play so many other games. So that's why I always try to do it like fairly close to when we are going to record, because I'm always playing something, and I am bound to really forget things, even with games that I've played 1,000 times and stuff like that. So
yeah, that 100% happens with me too. Like Mike, I always peek behind the curtain. Mike, I always ask him for at least a 2-month notice on any game, like for me to like start and get my head like psyched for this. And I remember the quickest one I ever did was when we did Dragon Quest Heroes Rocket Slime. Is like I burned through that game like in 3 days, like when Mike and me decided we're gonna do the episode, and then we didn't record for like 2 months. So that one,
I was surprised.
Yeah, but, and so that one, but like this one, like I feel like this game is a good like palate cleanser game if you've been playing something like for a long time. Like I just beaten Breath of the Wild back in 2017, and that was like all encompassing for like a month. And this is a short 3-hour, easy to play platformer. And then I just beat the new Yakuza Like a Dragon 8 Infinite Wealth, which I've been playing since January. And I was like, having a nice little tiny game was really, really good. I feel like if I had jumped in like a 20-hour Hollow Knight, I'd be like, this is a lot right after this other long game. Like this one's like a really good placement for this.
You got to space them out.
And then after Plague Knight, man, Plague Knight just felt like it was not designed for its character. Because I think last time, Emanuel, you said like Plague Knight literally is the old Shovel Knight levels. And this is the trappings, like the enemy designs and like the kind of look of the levels, but it is very purpose built for Specter Knight's movement. Yep. And I don't know the game well enough. Are there like new mechanics and like new enemy types or something? Because I feel like I mean it's been 2.5 years since I played Shovel Knight, and 6 months since I played Plague of Shadows. But I'm like, were these things in here, like the little like jellyfish that you like kicked around in the water that you would jump through, or
No.
Like the
those are-
cannonballs that you could slice through. Maybe they existed, but you couldn't slice through them.
Yeah, okay. The cannonballs, they do exist in Shovel of Hope, but you can't slice through them in that game because you have a shovel. You don't have a scythe.
You pogo stick on them? Is that what you get?
Yeah, you there in Propeller Knight stage. There is that one section where you have to pogo all the way to the other side without falling to the bottomless pit, and you have to pogo on each one of those big balls.
That's so cool that they like they kept the same like physical thing and kind of the same action, because you kind of got to do something similar here. We have to like slice through a bunch of cannonballs that are shooting like right to left, and you're trying to go left to right, and you kind of have to like swoop through all of them, which is very cool. And,
It was, yeah.
But they figure out a way to do it with that character's mechanics that look different, because you like slice through the cannonballs and break them in half. That's really cool.
Yeah, in this one, you actually feel like, they designed this game, this game, but let's call it a game. It's
a game.
I know that it's a DLC, but technically it's also a game because it's kind of its own thing. You can actually buy this separately, so it is a game.
Yeah,
so
they could have released this as its own thing. It's just that it was a Kickstart promise or pledge.
Yeah. But in this one, you actually feel like, the game was designed for this character. Like, it's not like, we're just throwing Plague Knight into slightly altered Shovel Knight stages from a different perspective, and where you cannot take full advantage of his moveset and stuff like that. Like this one, you do. Like this one was built around the mechanics that they implemented into Specter Knight.
Yeah, and it really feels like cool and unique. I mean, it still like looks the same, so you're kind of like, I played this game before, which is a little like frustrating. Like I'd like to like had new areas, but also I understand this is a DLC stretch goal. The fact that this came out 3 years after the core game, like,
so impressive.
Why are we doing this at this point? Like, I would just, I love that you hold to your promises, but like King Knight still came out like 2.5 years after that, which is insane.
Yep. It really is.
And so it kind of feels a little stale. Like I've been through this Propeller Knight level, but this one felt like much more vibrant and unique. Like I've never seen this stuff before. Like all of them, the Polar Knight level, the water level felt much different. Like everything just like felt like so nicely purpose built for this character. It's like a really like incredible cover of a game of a song.
And it makes you feel like a badass when it works. Like when you play him and you're able to hit all the jumps perfectly, like it feels really good. And you don't have to be that close. Like they're not that, like it's not Kaizo Mario or anything of that level. You just got to be close to make it happen.
Right.
And that feels really good.
It is a good game. I feel like I played it a lot better though. I definitely beat it. Unlike Shovel Knight, which I took an hour longer to beat than Shovel of Hope, than my original playthrough. I beat this in an hour faster than my original playthrough. So
it is shorter. It's missing the open world. It's missing some of the extra levels that Shovel Knight would have or Plague Knight has. Like, because it's kind of like a Mega Man where you go to and you just pick where to go. And I mean, yes, you're not like you're actually somewhere. You're not looking at a screen with a bunch of faces, but it does kind of have that Mega Man feel to it.
I kind of wish that they did have like the faces, like a Mega Man, just have like that level select, like just because Shovel Knight has always taken inspiration from Mega Man, like like go full Mega Man if you want to go full Mega Man, like just and you do see their faces like in the mirror, you do see like silhouettes of.
I didn't catch that.
It's very vague. It's just almost like a glimpse, like you can barely make it out. Then you can see, their silhouettes and stuff when you select the levels in the mirror. That's why I say I wish that it were a little bit more. Like they could have, like they already have the map, from the previous games. Just show that map and do the which one is it? Is it Mega Man X1 that has like the the map area,
the island, and then it shows you what each place you're at. Like this is the power plant. Yes, that's X1. They don't continue that, unfortunately.
Like they could have done that with this, just and put up all 8 of the knights.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I mean, a couple of things like for me is I really like the story of this, and I'm wondering if anyone else got this feeling. When he has the flashbacks and everything goes along with that, all I could think of was Shadow from Final Fantasy VI and his flashbacks.
I haven't played that game. So
I had not also played Final Fantasy VI, but I'm sure the people listening at home are like, yes, Mike, you're right.
I'm surprised you haven't, Vince.
How have you not? No,
both of you, I'm surprised.
Mike, it's an old-ass game.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. There's no platinum. That's what's missing.
I mean, there is a platinum now with the Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, with it remastered.
It's just I don't know.
You like
I
the new
started with
shinies,
7.
huh?
I started with 7, and even 7 I have such a hard time going back to in the original one. I never really got into RPGs until the PS2 era. So like aside from Pokemon, which was one of my first games, so I'm like I don't gel well with those older RPGs.
No, that's fair. It's completely fair. I'm just surprised because also Vince, you play a lot of older games.
I do
too.
play I play a lot of games. Weirdly, for some reason, I've only played one like numbered Final Fantasy, and that was like the first half of Final Fantasy IV, and that was in the last 10 years.
Okay.
I always downloaded Final Fantasy VI like as the first like ROM, Super Nintendo ROM, and then I played maybe like 10 minutes of it, and then never really got beyond that.
It's fair.
I'm a Dragon Quest boy, and for some reason they are different. And Final Fantasy.
They are.
Are you excited for the AZ2?
I am very excited for 3. I'm mad that they're releasing them the way that they are, though. If I'm totally honest, I feel like they're spoiling like what was mind blowing to me when I was 13. So I'm kind of frustrated by that. But I'm not going to spoil it here. But
see, here's the deal. I wish that they would do HD 2D with these Final Fantasy games. Like instead of the whole pixel remaster where the games still look old as shit. Just make them look like Live Alive. That is like one of my favorite looking goddamn games.
I need to play that.
I just want them fucking available.
You haven't played the remake, right, Mike?
No, I have not yet.
Oh my god!
I did the original for the show like the year before the remake came out,
and I remember.
I'm not. It's on my wish list on Steam, and I'm waiting someday if it drops low enough, I'll pick it up, and then I'll end up on the show.
You could do minis and just do like each like 3-hour chapter, like as like a 20-minute episode.
I had that idea for Saga Frontier about 4 years ago. I have done 0 of it, so it won't happen.
My son, every time he sees the Saga logo, especially like Romancing Saga, he thinks it says Romancing Salsa. And he's like, what's Romancing Salsa 2? That looks good. And I'm like, that would be better.
That would be better.
Yes, I would definitely approve that.
I just really like the flashback scenes, and they're very short, and it also plays it apart to kind of show you like a story. Like this guy because this takes place before Shovel Knight. For those that follow the Shovel Knight lore, which is probably not that many, and like the whole idea is that he was the one that was involved with the Enchantress getting released at the same time that Shield Knight was there. And then he pretty much was dying, and the Enchantress gave him his life, but he has to serve her as her slave.
Yeah,
and he recruits the Order of No Quarter.
The Order of No Quarter.
So why are these 8 robot bosses, aka knights, hanging out together? Because you in this game collect them all and beat their asses and say, "Yo, y'all work for the Enchantress."
Except for the one you fight in the Lich Yard, since they couldn't have you fight yourself, and he doesn't join.
Yeah, because he's an honorable warrior. He doesn't.
I mean,
he's not him again. And he doesn't have Knight at the end. That's his name, right?
Yeah, he doesn't. I think he's I'm not sure what his name is.
I forget his name. I always forget his name.
And you also have Reese, like which you see that character in Shovel Knight, but in here he's like a dark evil version of himself because and then you find out that it's actually the son of the guy that Specter Knight worked with.
Yep.
So I don't know, little touches.
The best thing about this game is the story of like how the Order of No Quarter came to be, how Specter Knight, his origins and all that stuff. Like that is the best part of like, oh, there's actually like some kind of continuity. Because with Plague of Shadows, it was almost like an alternate universe.
Yeah, because it was the same time, right? Like it took place like right after each other or right during each other.
Plague of Shadows, it seemed like it was. It seemed like it was like at the same time. But then at the end, it diverges from the whole story because Plague Knight is the one that ends up winning. So it's it is
alternate.
Yeah, it's more of like Plague Knight in his head thinking himself of a hero or something.
I like how this is just part of the story. It just fits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's better. But also, again, at the time that they released this, they know a little bit more what they're doing and are a little more sure of themselves versus like where Plague Knight probably was a little quicker. Like, we got to get this out. We promised.
Yeah, even though then
that one still took like a year. This is 3 years after though.
Yeah, this took a while. Not for me because when I bought it, it was already out by the time I finally got the game. Like, oh, I can just play Specter Knight. But like looking back, because I remember King Knight wasn't out. That's why I never played King Knight, and I still have yet to play King Knight because it wasn't out at the time.
King Knight was delayed. Like it was supposed to come out, I believe, in 2018, and they delayed it to 2019, and it came off at the tail end of 2019.
Yeah, it's really late. It's like
Yeah.
right pretty much. I started playing it like right before the pandemic. There were a lot of good games then, like that ukulele Donkey Kong Country clone also works out around that same
The
time.
Impossible Lair.
Yeah,
played
and
that yet.
Messenger. Yeah, there's some good 2D platforms.
Never played that either.
Hey, oh my God, Mike, we need
want
to do
to.
the Messenger.
It's on my
we
list.
need to do the Messenger.
I don't
I'm
like
doing
the
Spyro
Messenger,
2
so don't
for you.
invite me, but y'all have a good time with it.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I didn't like it. I don't like Sea of Stars either.
Oh,
I don't like
I
either
own
of
it.
their games. Whatever reason, I don't like their games.
I think Sea of Stars is fine. I really didn't get into it that much. Like I beat it because part of Sabotage, and the Messenger is like one of my favorite 2D platformers and one of my favorite Metroidvanias of all time. So I was like almost obligated to play it because it's set in the same universe. But man, Mike, you need to play the Messenger.
Yeah, you'd like it, Mike.
It starts off. I can't.
I know of it. I've seen speedruns of it. I know of it.
You know,
like,
the
know the
twist-ish. Spoiler alert.
I don't know the twist. No, I just know. I don't know. Okay, I never watched a full spear. I just watched some of the spears. Like I've seen how it plays.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not.
I don't want to either.
Or your listeners rather, for a 5-year-old game. But there were a lot of 2D platformers that came out in fall 2019.
I don't. It takes me a long time sometimes to get to games. I mean, it's just, and I play a lot. I play well over 60, 70 a year every year. Like I get through a lot, and there's so many games.
Those are rookie numbers. Just Mike, you need to do.
I got to quit the podcast, then I can get 100.
You need to beat 200 almost 200 games like I did in 2020 when the pandemic hit.
Man, see the pandemic. I was still working. Well, you were still working too. So
I was still working, but I was like so down in the dumps that all I could think about was just I need to beat a game today. I need to beat a game. I need to beat a game today. I need to beat another game. I don't care what it is. I need to beat it.
the hell
It
is
could be
it? I mean, the
a literal
pandemic's
pile of trash. I need to beat it. Which I did. I played so much trash games during 2020. God damn it. Anyways, but yeah, we need to do the Messenger at some point.
Okay.
And also, Impossible Lair is really good. It's a really great game, actually, except for the aforementioned Impossible Lair. Fuck the Impossible Lair.
That's optional, right? That optional?
It's not, but technically, when I played the game, I just called it. I said I beat the game because I played the entirety of all the game except for the Impossible Lair, which is just one last level where you have to pretty much not die to beat it.
Yeah.
They then updated it and gave you like checkpoints at certain parts. It was still fucking difficult, but it wasn't as impossible because you could still you could reroute your brain to like, okay, we don't have to do this section now because we already beat this one flawlessly. Now we have a checkpoint from here on, which is the impossible part, because the second part of that goddamn layer is the most difficult thing to do. The third part isn't even that difficult. It's just that second part that it's just like, fuck this game.
I'll probably never play it, but okay.
You should. You should up until that part because it's literally the last thing that you do.
Yes, but
you can literally do every single thing in that game except for the impossible layer, and you're a good.
I have to see credits.
Beat the game. God damn it, Mike.
I have to. That's a non-negotiable for me.
What's your number of how many games you haven't actually completed for this show? It's like 5 still?
2, sir.
2.
And which are those?
Technically, it's only one that I couldn't do because of skill was Beautiful Joe, which I have not redone yet with save states, and Soul Reaver 2 because I could not get it to run on any damn thing I tried.
I've never played Beautiful Joe yet.
Keep it that way.
I've always wanted to because of the aesthetic.
I'm going to redo it. I've been saying I'm going to redo that episode for years, but I just haven't got around to it.
It's a very impressive stat, Mike. But yeah, I
tried.
I feel like we veered off course, but
hey,
yeah,
as we always do.
Like, there's a lot of good 2D platformers out there. I really like Specter Knight. My Impossible Lair was really good, but my memory of that with ukulele is that I had Plumber doing work like late February, and I was playing it, so I had to work from home, or not work from home. I was just at home. I was playing that all day, and my plumber was just like hacking up a lung like the whole time, like a week before COVID, and then he was not there the next day to finish up the work. So I never saw him again. I hope I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he had COVID.
Hey, as long as he didn't drink bleach to try to fight the COVID.
I know, right? I'm sure he's fine. But like, I was like, man, this guy's in a bad way. I don't know what he's got. And then a week later, COVID hit. I'm like, that was probably it.
Mm-hmm.
Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. That was fun.
Hey, that's the stuff that sticks with you sometimes. It just does. I mean, I don't have any unfortunate special stories when it comes like to this. I don't even remember when I played this the first time. Like, I can't even tell you what was going on. Like, it just nothing that stuck out.
Yeah, this was a very fun Switch launch range game when you're like looking for something outside of like you just beat Zelda and you're like, I want something else. Yeah. And this was like because I remember I was playing it. I'm like, oh, I like Shovel Knight. Let's see what else they've got. I'm like, wow, this is fucking good. Also, like, I'm a fan for life of Yacht Club. I'm still waiting on that Link's Awakening whatever game.
The
Mina the Hollower.
Mina the Hollower. Yeah,
we talked about that 2.5 years ago on the first Shovel of Open.
And it's still not out yet.
And it's still not out. I knew that wasn't gonna. Like, we've been waiting for a while. Have they even updated us on whether or not? I'm starting to. God damn it!
So what comes out first, that or Silksong?
That and Silksong, yes.
Well, Shovel Knight DX will come out before that. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, Shovel Knight DX comes out in October, I think, or November, something like that, in a few months.
Oh, not bad.
And also, did we talk about Shovel Knight 64 Megan Plague of Shadows? I forget. I don't know if that was. I don't remember if that was.
No, I don't think we did.
Mentioned.
There was a rumor, wasn't it? Is that real or no?
No, Shovel Yacht Club has said that their next one might be a 3D game, and a 3D Shovel Knight. So.
Oh,
we'll see how that works.
There was that Celeste 64 that came out a few months ago. That was like 1 or 2 levels.
Yes,
Celeste.
but that was I think that was a fan game. I don't think that was
okay.
Yeah.
I never played Celeste either.
Oh my god, Mike.
I know. I keep thinking about it, but it's just. I mean, I don't know. You should know this, but I don't really like platformers a lot, so I don't play a ton of them. I mean, I put them on the show. Like Spyro 2 is going to be on the show this year because somebody bullied me into doing it.
Good.
Spider-Man 2? Which Spider-Man 2?
Spyro 2.
Spyro.
Oh, okay.
Emanuel really wanted Spyro 2, and I said, and I'm like, fine, we'll do Spyro 2.
Yes, Mike. Yes.
That's where they switch voices for Spyro the Dragon from Rocco to SpongeBob.
Yep.
So a couple of things about Shovel Knight is I kind of said you have all the regular knight level that you fight, but the levels are different. Then you have only 2 enchanters levels. One is a level, and the second is just a boss fight, 2 boss fights. And that was nice. Like, this was nice and short. You have a couple bosses that you fight in between, I think 1 or 2. There's not much. They do one fake out with a big guy who has a whip that you fight in Plague Knight and Shovel Knight. He comes, but he doesn't do anything.
Bass.
Yeah. And no Kratos in this game either, so I was a little let down. But like in the original Shovel Knight, you could fight Kratos, which I don't think I've ever done still.
I did.
Should do that.
I did
one day.
when we did it.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah, that's when I did it because I hadn't done it before.
I watched it on YouTube, but that's it. So the Enchantress fights, there's no refights in this game either, and I can't believe how happy that made me.
Yeah, there's no boss rush. Thank God.
I hate boss rushes in Mega Man games so much.
I forgot. I actually forgot that there wasn't a boss rush. I was like totally expecting to go to have to fight all 8 robot masters again. I was
too.
Here we go. Yeah, here comes the boss gauntlet. Oh wait,
because I texted y'all before like a day or two, maybe it was even today. I was like, okay, I've beaten. I'm this close to beating all the knights. And like, I think I'm gonna call it because I don't like the Enchantress like aesthetic. I don't like the Enchantress. I don't like Wily levels. They like I don't like. I never liked the Yellow Devil from Mega Man 1, and I don't like the Sigma levels from Mega Man X. I feel like they're kind of arduous. They're like tests like the impossible layer of like everything you've learned, and it amps up the difficulty. I don't like it. Whatever. But I also don't like there's like purple and green and like the rain aesthetic. I don't like it of Enchantress levels. So I'm like, I'm going to just stop here because I don't want to do 4 levels of Enchantress stuff and a boss rush. And Mike, you were like, one of y'all two was like, it's only 2 levels. And the second level is literally like one little small preamble. And then it's the final fight and you're good to go. And I'm like, okay.
And there's a checkpoint between the final fight.
Yeah.
I found that out. Because, I was like, I hope there's a checkpoint. I do not want to fight the Enchantress again. And then I was like, thank you, game.
And the original one, I think in the original one, there was a checkpoint between the original Enchantress and the...
I think there was too, yeah.
There is. I definitely died there.
Same. The Enchantress fight, I had a really hard time with it until I watched a video, and he said because at one point she goes down at the bottom of the screen and you can't hit her, and I'm and she doesn't really come up. She like dive bombs across the screen, like diagonal, like Storm Eagle from Mega Man X, since we're doing that. And I couldn't hit her. And I'm like, what am I? And I just kept waiting. I would just end up running out of health before she changed forms. And I watched the video and said, shoot the scythe down below it. It will hit her. And then she'll eventually go to her third form. And then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you kind of gave me that like slight hint. And I was like, that's what Mike's talking about.
I didn't do that. So I just waited.
Oh, okay. I was getting pissed. So I was like, what? I'm like, I'm not that bad. Like, why am I failing at this? And that's when I watched the video. I'm like, oh, okay, that's simple. Like then because you have to hit her a couple times and she switches forms. I mean, she'll go back down there, but I killed her before she got there again.
I think that Enchantress fight is the only instance of the game still being routed to Shovel Knight instead of Specter Knight, to be honest.
That's fair.
Because she still pretty much almost does the exact same moves as in the original Shovel Knight. So it almost feels like you're supposed to be playing as Shovel Knight here, not Specter Knight.
Yeah, it was a little disheartening for me at first until I looked it up. And then the second fight, which is all on rails, which is actually a nice little final boss fight. It's Reese, your friend's son, who then got turned into like a big monster, and you have to like skate, and then he shoots things at you, and you got to like eventually stab him in the face.
Yeah, there is rail grinding in this game.
Would you... God damn it.
I liked it.
Would you say that the Enchantress said, "Make my monster grow"?
Pretty much. That's how it feels. I'll take the Power Rangers reference.
Yes, Mike. So that you know that I'm a Power Rangers fan. So that you never forget, Mike.
Is that Rita Repulsa? She's got a new game coming out.
I will never forgive you, Mike.
Yeah, yes. An 8-bit or 16-bit game.
16-bit from Digital Eclipse. Digital Eclipse, the Cowabunga collection. People are making an original game.
Yes. I almost thought that it was the ones that did the
Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah, Shredder's Revenge.
That game was great.
It's really good.
I haven't played that yet.
Ooh, it's really good.
I'm not big into beat 'em ups, but that one was great.
That one makes you feel like you're playing Turtles in Time again, not the real Turtles in Time.
Beat 'em ups they're hard in this day and age. Like, it's an acquired taste now. You gotta be
that one's got good incentives to like power your characters up. It's got a light leveling up the character. Like, there's a lot of like funny animations. The turtles are surprisingly like have a ton of animations and like have a lot of like moves within them. And then the DLC added like a roguelike to it. Which is even cooler. Like, it's like a screen, and then like you build your stuff in between, just like, Hades or anything like that. It's like you get one of these two items, and so you can do like a roguelike build of like a Ninja Turtles game, and that's a lot of fun.
I only played the base game, so I didn't know about that. My favorite beat 'em up is still like River City Girls 1. I haven't played the second game.
Yeah,
but
I love the soundtrack for that game.
Oh, it's the soundtrack in beat 'em ups are just fantastic.
Yeah, they usually are.
So, the Shredder's Revenge has just a top tier goddamn song by God damn it, what's his name? I forgot. Shit, this guy does a lot of
is it Jake Kaufman?
I think it's Jake Kaufman.
I don't know. I love the River City Girls soundtrack has the girls singing about getting their boyfriends back. It's like a little like pop punk song. It's really cool.
Oh, the music for this game is fine too, for Specter Knight.
It's a lot of remixes, but it's
fine.
I don't think that any one of them stood out to me like the way that the original soundtrack did, but it's still fine.
Anything else to say about Specter Knight? I know there's not a lot here.
Before we continue deviating to something else?
Yes.
It's
fine. Hey, to be fair, they all are games that either came out in the area or fit the type of theme that make us think about it as we talk about this. That's fair.
It's a great little DLC. We talked about like Treasure Trove is now $40.
Yeah,
it was $25 when I bought this and $15 when I first bought it.
It bothers me, but it's well worth it. But it bothers me the cheap ass in me.
I like that it got more expensive as opposed to got really cheap. I like that. Like, they didn't nickel and dime me. Like, my one-time purchase got everything else.
Yeah,
although I couldn't figure out Plague Knight, as we said, on the 3DS because its eShop was weird and its patching was weird. But I really liked it. I was like, yeah, sure. I got a new system. I got my Switch. $25 seems appropriate. I've got a lot of mileage out of it.
No, it's not worth what they asked for. It's just me being the cheap bastard that I am. It's hard for me to want to buy this on Steam at this point.
Yeah.
Quick interjection. It's T-Lopes, the one that did the song that I was talking about in Shredder's Revenge, Panic in the Sky.
Nice.
It's a really great song. I listen to it regularly.
I don't listen to music anymore. People can believe that.
Yeah,
we do believe that, Mike, because we know that you don't listen to goddamn video game music when you're
not
playing.
really. I don't listen to any.
How do you have time to listen to music when you have hundreds of hours of games my mom found?
I mean, you're not wrong. But no, I just don't listen to music much. Like, people find that weird. Like, I'm also not in the car. When I'm in the car with my wife and she got tired of listening to the same music over and over again, like I would do, and she don't really like hearing podcasts because she'll then ask questions.
I was sitting there in silence. Y'all not listening to Chapel Roan?
I just talk.
Or like Girls by the Dare or anything? Okay.
No, I was really into Taylor Swift for a while, and she got sick of Taylor Swift. So
how?
I don't know. But
she's got everything for everyone. She just dropped a double album that I don't really like, but I do like her other work. But I don't like. I'm not a Torture Poets fan.
Hey, she became out. She moved up on my fan list for reasons. So
I know
I respect her a lot more than I did, and I already respect her a lot. So hey, but
she's a self-made billionaire. Good for her in this world. But anyways, my Shovel Knight thoughts is like or Specter Knight. I got spoiled with like the purpose-built levels. Is like Emanuel went into much more detail about that. So like going back to Plague Knight was like, ugh, I don't like this. And when I think about like the Shovel of Hope like DX, like, oh, you can play as all these characters. I'm like, one, are they going to like just be like the characters in that world, and will they even work? Will Specter Knight have his same movement abilities that I'm used to in the Shovel of Night DX remake? And if he does, will it even work in that level the same way and create that flow state that I like so much? Like, I'm kind of like, this spoiled me so much.
Yeah,
like, if you're not going to do that, then I don't want it.
I can't answer those questions at this present moment because I don't think that they've said much about it aside from, hey, it's got rewind, it's got save states, and you can play as all the nights.
I think that's just cool that it's coming out. Like, I'm happy that this game is still being supported. I mean, people love this game.
It's one of the biggest indie games. It's like the indie game.
I thought Hollow Knight kind of was.
Hollow Knight is also, but you know, Shovel Knight was the precedent. Like, it was the success story of like.
What about Mighty Number 9?
What about Mighty Number 9?
I own that game on multiple systems, so hey.
I think I got it free in PS Plus. I think I saw it at a Family Dollar for $5 on Wii U, and I didn't bite. So
I bought it on Xbox One for like dirt cheap on clearance at Target, and I bought it for Steam for dirt cheap, just because I'm like, I'll get to this someday, maybe.
Will you though?
No,
not on 3DS. They did not. They did not follow their Kickstarter goals.
Or PS Vita.
Yeah, Vita's life.
Vita is dead. Long live the Vita.
All right, should we go to Shelf Stacker Box?
Absolutely.
So I'll go first. I'm gonna put this on the shelf. I had a good time. It's a fun. I mean, yes, I struggled at first when I first started playing it, but after about 20 minutes, half an hour, I got the hang of it and I had fun. It was a really good little experience. I beat this in like 2 days or so. It was very quickly. And I was like, wow, this is nice. I was just stressed out because I had started 3 games and I do not like having more than 1 game started at a time. So I was kind of upset with myself. So that didn't help the situation. But that's not the game's fault. That is a me problem. But no, good time. Put it on the shelf. I'm really glad to replay it. And I will probably never play it again, though. But I had fun. So, Emanuel.
Yeah, it goes on the shelf. I still love the game. I still don't think that it's as great as the original Shovel of Hope. I don't know, maybe 5 years from now, maybe I'll replay it again. But I don't know. I'm more prone to just replaying the original Shovel Knight. And now with the DX coming, obviously I'm gonna replay it with that. So yeah, it's great that it was made. I love that they managed to incorporate much better than they did with Plague of Shadows, the character and the world and the game and all that into one cohesive package, and also that the story, you know, was more cohesive and did lead into the original Shovel of Hope, even if it honestly, we'll probably talk about this when we play the King Knight. I think that this is the canon one out of all the DLCs, because there is some one instance of contradiction in King Knight.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like, okay, and you'll see when we talk about it. You'll see. I will remind you what it is.
Okay, it might be a little bit, but yes, some point.
2.5 years.
No, probably next year. Some point next year.
It'll take as long as the development time of King Knight took for Shot Club.
We're not doing Shovel Knight Showdown, right?
Is that in there?
I think that we can include that when we do King Knight because
sure, we'll do that. Just to get it in there.
Time,
yeah, and it came out at the same time, and there is no story in Showdown. It's just a little
fighter, right?
Smash. Yeah, a Smash clone, like a 2D Smash clone. So
we'll talk about it then.
Yeah, we can just bundle it up since cool. it literally just was a bundle with the King Knight DLC.
Oh, then that fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Okay, and Vincent.
We're gonna shelf it.
Ooh.
I love it. I really like this game. I don't know if it's like it's not like Super Mario World versus Mario Bros. 3 kind of level. Like I like this one versus this one. I like Specter Knight's like diagonal movement. I think it's a fun jumping mechanic that I think feels really good. I think it's really tuned really well. There's a lot of like times that I played this game, I'm like, oh, that's really clever. Just like how it like asked me to like move about the stage. I was always very pleased with it. I think it's the gold standard for a DLC. It's too much. You didn't need to do this at all, especially because it was kind of free. But it's really fantastic. The story is like meaningful. It's not just kind of like, and it's like very much feels like an A team making it as opposed to a lot of the DLCs. I'm like, oh, like this doesn't match, or it's like a little weird. Like this one just feels really good, and it spoiled me for all future Shovel Knight DLCs, but also made me a Yacht Club fan for life. So. It's good. It's really good. I'm very happy with it. Yeah,
I'm glad I got you to replay it. I mean, I'm always happy still when I introduce new things to people. Like hopefully when we do King Knight, it'll be new for both of us.
Yeah, I got about halfway through. That one's weirder because they don't have like 7 long levels. They instead have like, and I'm sure I'm wrong on the numbers, like 40 short levels. Like every checkpoint is instead a new level.
That just seems weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it, but it won't. I mean, I can guarantee it will not be this year. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not in any rush. So, I mean, this has been on my list forever, and I'm like, I just need to get more of these done. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's for spooky season.
I mean, well, that wasn't planned, but hey, it's a spooky adjacent, so it can fit in there. Give you guys something a little less scary and me a little less disheartening to play during the spooky time. Yeah, I think that's everything. So, Vincent, where can people find you at?
You can find me on the Some of My Friends Read Comics podcast. It's a comic podcast where we read monumental comics. The guest that's been on a lot of your Sandman episodes, Chris Dobson, he's a co-host of mine on Some of My Friends Read Comics. Mike was on an episode of the Super Metroid comic from Nintendo Power. We covered that. We've also covered just like a lot of things like the death of Gwen Stacy. We're reading Thunderbolts right now. Like Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like if there's a monumental comic, we've probably read it, although we haven't read Watchmen yet. So that's there. And you can also find me on TikTok under Cool Uncle Vince. You can find me talking about Spider-Man or Joe Biden's appearances in NBA Jam. Those sorts of things. You can find me all on that. It's Cool Uncle Vince on TikTok.
And Emanuel.
Yeah, you can find me over on twitch.tv/Commander Lionheart, where I do my sometimes weekly, sometimes not weekly show, First Strike, where we take a look at the beginning of old-ass video games.
I feel like you've been doing more, though, lately. I've seen you streaming more.
Whenever I can. Tomorrow I may or may not do something. We'll see how I end up after work.
Well, it's good that you do this when you can.
Yes. And next... well, I can't say that next week because when this goes off, it'll already be.
Yeah, this comes out in October, early October.
Yeah. But did you see that Mr. Mosquito was going to be added to PlayStation Plus Premium? So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I've never played that. Mythos really wants me to play that, so I'm like, okay, fine. It's finally the time for me to play Mr. Mosquito.
I was supposed to a long time ago. One of my co-hosts wanted me to, but then we never did. So.
Yeah, I could have easily done it years ago because of emulation and shit like that, but I'm like,
you're like, oh, if you give me a platinum trophy,
I'm close to getting 300, so I'm getting close to the whole. I am almost done with getting platinums. Like playing Astrobot really cemented that for me. Like I did get the platinum, but it was like very natural. I almost didn't look up anything. I didn't have to force my way through anything that I didn't want to. So it's like sometimes I just go through a lot of game platinums, like in not the right way, I guess you could say. Like I just focus on the platinum and not enjoy the game. So
yeah, I get that.
So I'm like, I really gotta stop doing that because I've been ruining the experience for a lot of games just because I want to get that stupid ass.
Oh, and we forgot to say the ending of Shovel Knight. Specter Knight ends up sacrificing himself, becoming human again to save Reese because his friend, I don't think I said that, and then he becomes the Spectre that we see in Shovel Knight.
Yep, which he actually gets the long ass cloak because the entire game you're wearing a cloak, but it's not the long ass cloak and levitation that he has as his boss battle.
Yes, because you have legs.
Exactly.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, if you want to hear talk about Shovel Knight and Plague Knight, you will see that in the link for the show notes. The links will be there. And everything we do is on Podbean, so if you want to listen to the rest of our content, there's over 650 other episodes of this podcast. You find everything we do on Podbean. Definitely go check us out, or wherever you get your podcasts. And rate and reviews wherever you get your podcast, please. Also, you see the gentleman stuff in the show notes, too. Definitely go check them out. I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Hasfer. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go support her. And please follow Gamer Looks at 40. He should be talking about Final Fantasy still, so definitely go check out his podcast with Bill Tucker. And please, if you want to support the show, do a Patreon. Little Dog Vote our Patreon poll. We also have a Discord if you want to join, talk with us. If you want to be on the show, suggest things for the show, join the Discord. That's how you do that. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, sometimes, and YouTube audio only. I think that's everything I need to say, so we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Darkness.